First question was that we sent y'all was how do you market differently from your competition? Like what makes it what like is the niche, I guess,
Okay.
would be the best term.
I'll start with this one, but essentially, in the outdoor industry, what we try to do is we look at all the other products in our space. And in the development of the product, we want to create a strong brand identity for the target customer that we're going for.
Okay.
And the features and quality of the product, we want to have to be the highest at the price point. So for example, we'll look at a marketplace and look at the size of the market and the type of consumers that are going after that space. We know that a lot of people are going to stores with a certain dollars to spend. And then a lot of people spend, like say you go in the store, you get $200 to spend on a outdoor product.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that any product that buyer is likely to see for that store,
Mm-hmm.
that our product has the highest quality and the best product at that $200 price
So
point.
quality for its price.
Exactly. So we look at all the key price points in a space, and we want to dominate them within the categories with the best product we can provide at that price. And we've been very successful at that. So that's been really key. I will say that internationally, what we've done is we've addressed local market conditions. We work with our distributors to determine what the different tastes and preferences are in that market, and we develop products specifically for each international market.
Oh, wow.
So that's also something that's
Yeah, because something that sells well in the United States will not sell well international. So we have to look at the government regulations, usually for every country.
Yeah.
So,
And the competitor environments will change too. Like something we're really competitive in the United States, there may be somebody all over it in the international market. Maybe that product's not even viable internationally.
So what would you say was one of your more really competitive markets internationally?
Okay. Internationally, we are a couple areas. The Sightmark brand in general has been very well received in Europe. And that was a case where there are different regulations within Europe. So we created different versions of our products that meet the different requirements in each country. And that's been well received. We're the #1 selling bore sight, for example, in Europe. We have one of the top selling reflex sights in Europe. So, and I think that had to do with, focusing on it specifically for that market, working with customers to bring it to the market. In some ways, actually, some of the products brought over there were the first people, like the reflex sights,
Yeah.
the first people to really aggressively market that in Europe.
Oh, really? That's actually quite impressive. Okay. So, let's see. And you've already pretty much said that the most important characteristic would be the quality of the product?
I think we call it the value. We want to have our products the best value at each price point. So quality is definitely part of that.
Okay.
What we don't want to do is somebody to feel that they got a better value from a different brand at a certain price.
Okay.
So although we can be all over the price spectrum, the value is the really driving force for us.
All right, so value just in general.
Mhm.
Okay. I hope. Let's see. So, what would be one of the main differences when promoting the product domestically and compared to internationally?
question for you.
The interesting thing in the United States, we do most of the end consumer promotion with the brand building and marketing, advertising ourselves. Internationally, we work with distributors that end up doing that in their country. I still think, though, that even with working retailers and the international distributors, it's really important for us that we become partners in their business and we understand their business fully. And then we work to get them assortment and focus on the products that we're most successful with. So I think both internationally and domestically, that's been the key to success. Of course, the way that manifests itself is a little bit different depending on the market.
So, what would be a great example of this difference in and how it manifests?
Okay, so
I think you have to look at the different consumers. American consumers are different from European consumers. The international market, the international or the European consumer, they're used to paying a higher price. They will use that product forever. They want it to last forever.
Okay.
The American consumer, they kind of know, they spend $100, yeah, this might last one hunting season for them. And then maybe the next hunting season, they go buy a new one.
Okay.
So that's really the difference in the expectations.
The lifetime of the item.
Yes.
Or the product that they buy.
Yes.
Okay. What would you say would be a biggest challenge just promoting in general overseas?
well, obviously the you have less time, it's harder to get in front of your customers internationally, so you have to do quite a bit through emails and things like that. So I think it's, usually international business, they want a close relationship than you have in the US. Typically, our people will work with a higher level organization. For example, international distributor, we're almost always working with the owner or the CEO of the company. When we work with major retailers in the United States, we're working with a senior buyer who's got a junior buyer, rebuyer part of the team. Then they have a director of merchandising, then they have a VP, usually of finance, and they have a president and CEO. So we're a lot farther down the food chain domestically. And then internationally, for the owners to work with us, they really want to feel like they can trust us and they know us well.
Alright, so it would be like the difference, the main difference would you all say is like just you have to go through more people or higher chain of command internationally?
Yeah, I think, well, with internationally, since you're playing at a higher level, they're investing more in that relationship.
Okay.
They also take more time to get to know you. They're not as quick to do business. In the United States, you put a good deal in front of somebody, they're gonna trust that you're gonna do a good job. They're gonna expect you to, take care of warranty issues, and, if they have credits, you'll apply credits, and, you'll do business properly. Internationally, they're much more about the relationship, and they're in it for the long haul.
Oh.
When they commit to your business, they're gonna build their business around supporting your brands in that country. In the United States, the retailers in general are not as loyal. They'll do whatever's in the best interest of their business that year.
So what is one of y'all's like longer relationships among the European countries
Okay?
since y'all have been saying that in the European areas y'all have pretty much the best sales among y'all's reflective sites, reflex sites, just specifically.
Right. I'd probably say that actually internationally, our longest relationships actually have the supply side.
Yeah.
So, one of the things about being international is not only do we sell international, but we also have international manufacturing partners.
Mhm.
About a third of our products, maybe 20–30% of our products are made in Europe. So our longest standing relationships have been with Russian manufacturers. And the reason for that is Russians had a very advanced technology,
Yeah.
and they've invested very heavily in education of some of the greatest engineering minds in the world.
Yeah.
And that helps to create innovative products, especially in the advanced optics realm. So the key to working with the Russians are very intelligent, very intelligent people, and they're also hardworking, they're driven. I think working with Russians, you really have to be at your top as far as able to perform. They take it very seriously that you follow through on promises. Like sometimes in the US, we'll give you 100%, we'll do the best we can, or we'll do this. It's very important working with the Russians to actually do it. The Russians you get so much support from the Russians when you're working together against a common threat.
Yeah.
However, when they feel that you may not be able to perform that they need, they will also replace you very easily. So you gotta be very careful to make sure you do a good job for them.
So pretty much.
You deal with the Russians more than I do day to day.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is the key to working with the Russians?
I think you have to respect them, respect their culture.
Mhm.
The world's kind of U.S. American dominated, and as long as they feel like you are respect, it's a lot of respect between individuals. If you say you're gonna do something, you do it, and then everything
And
is copacetic.
so if you say like you're gonna help them 100%, they are expecting that
Or
100%.
if you're gonna get up, you're gonna order this product, you better order that product. If you're asking them to invest in the product development and the tooling, they need to know you'll fulfill your side of the bargain.
Okay.
Americans seem a little more flexible, I think. We trust everybody, but if they don't do it, we don't.
Yeah, most American companies all agree on that. They
Yeah.
don't.
If I have a comment, like they pretty much think about, since the world is American centralized kind of thing, they probably think that Americans are sometimes greedy and they don't want to see that kind of attitude when they're in business. They want to be respected, and that.
That's right. That's really true. When they come to visit us, it's almost like a table of, we sit down with the United Nations. There's courtesies extended, there's meals that are shared. The politeness of the business dealings. The Americans, they tend to be a little bit more, I guess the word's not explosive, but if they get upset about something,
Mhm.
but they will become angry or whatever. The Russians instead will kind of get their feelings hurt. It's not anger or anything like that, it's,
Yeah,
so,
it's true. You have to be willing to invest a lot more time into international relations, especially the Russians, and I think we also do a lot of business in China. So we also see that there as well. But I think that having, one of the stereotypes of Americans, like you mentioned, is that we can come off sometimes as arrogant, and we assume that the United States is the best place in the world. Well, these people live in their country, so it's very important to go there really seeking out to understand who they are and what they believe. And I don't think coming with that idea that America's number one really works very well with trying to foster international relationships.
Right.
I think it's more important that it's a personal relationship, and the way you show respect is by caring about people, and you care about people by finding out about their culture, about their heritage, the things that they're proud of. They're also much more family oriented too, so it's very important. Like right now, I'm thinking I haven't spent enough time overseas lately. I need to get back over there.
So, with the Russian culture, what was one of the major cultural shocks? And I think this would be good for you since you really deal with the Russians more than he does. You know,
I deal with on the marketing side. She deals with the day-to-day.
yeah.
Okay.
She works with them more often than I do.
Most of the Russians that do business in the United States have studied like our English language, and most of them can speak English really well. And they want you to realize that they have studied hard and that they're making an effort to learn your language to come do business with you. So, and sometimes we tend to, if someone misspeaks a word, we're like, oh, he said that wrong, you never want to say something like that because they've worked very hard to come over here and do business with you. And so you just, again, respect their culture and realize it is different, and maybe share, they might bring some of their culture with them. They want you to try their food, and that kind of thing.
That's true.
So.
And how is Russian food?
Well, he would know better than me.
Yeah,
so.
I'm trying to think. I guess you haven't actually been over the factory, and when they come over here, we haven't had an opportunity to eat their food. I know the Chinese come over, they made a big effort to make a big meal for us. We actually had their traditional style food here. See, one of the things specifically about myself is when I was in college, I studied Russian literature and history and culture.
Really?
So that was one of my, I guess, focuses during, I was history of political science.
Okay.
So I was pretty well prepared to understand a little bit about who they were and what made them tick. So actually, I was really considered a great honor to be able to do business with Russia and get to see the way they lived. So much so that some of my best memories is when they invited me into their homes and had meals with their families, and even did some of their traditions like the Russian banya and some of the other traditions they have, even some of the Slavic folk stuff that they do.
What's this? What's Russian banya?
That's it's a steam bath. They make these little houses with I think they're cedar, and they have stoves in there, either coal or wood or electric now, and they just they go to steam bath with all the people together, and they have this tradition. They take these birch trees, they take the branches and they smack each other with it, but they got the temperature so high, so hot that it's a very unusual experience, but it's actually one of the coolest things ever. If you ever get a chance to do Russian banya, definitely do that. There is also quite a bit of drinking that occurs during this ritual, so you have to have a pretty hearty liver.
Russian vodka, of course.
Yeah.
Russian banya.
So,
Always the most famous.
absolutely.
And I've heard, if I'm correct, I've heard from Karen before that y'all do outsourcing.
Yeah, we're partners. What we do is we have a vision and an idea of what the market needs, and we work with the partners to realize that. Obviously, as a small company in the United States, we don't have the ability to have legions of engineers, and the PhDs in optics engineering in the U.S. are unaffordable to small businesses. These manufacturers internationally have access to that, and then plus they have the ability to manufacture a product that is readily accepted to the market. So that's really important for us. We kind of see sourcing as a global. We think it's important that we find the best products available anywhere in the world, and we're not locked into one country per se.
So you look at it as like a global initiative for something like that, correct?
I do. Do you see it that way?
Yeah.
Every time we go to a country, there's other export issues and import issues with that country.
What was
So there
one-
is some process that we have to be careful with that.
What would be one of the ones that you could like remember very clearly with import and export issues?
Probably, James was over in China, then he went on over into Vietnam, just to see, the manufacturing process there. And, because I guess the government there is so heavily controlled, it's very difficult to do business with them, because basically you are dealing with, not individually owned businesses, you're dealing with the government. So that was probably, one of the most highly regulated countries that he just,
Vietnam or China specifically?
Vietnam.
Vietnam more so. And the other thing too is that as a company, we kind of have a unwritten rule that we, hope this doesn't get aired. But we have a rule against, we don't like working with government-owned factories or companies. You know, it's a catch-22. Usually they're more expensive, they're not very responsive, they don't make good product anyway. Of course, if you get in business, especially in these countries where it's still, you know, government controls so much of the economy, you run the risk of becoming a major focus for them. And one of the things we try to avoid is we don't want to ever get in situations where you know, people are wanting bribes or they want to control and dominate us. And we want to stay as far away from government problems as possible. And I think trying to do business with these big government conglomerates is a really good way to live a dangerous life.
Just
I'm not
get stuck
interested.
into that kind of cycle.
Yeah, we like to work with good people, do business the right way. We follow the rules and regulations, but we're really not interested in playing big geopolitics with big government companies.
So
Not our thing.
what would be one of the bigger countries that you've outsourced to? China specifically, or?
China, we now sell, or now more of our factories in China than either location. What do you want to know?
Well, I was just curious as to which ones just y'all primarily outsource to.
Yeah, China, I will say, you might have a different take on this, but one thing I like about the Chinese is they're so ready to go to work. They're willing to work hard, they're willing to do whatever it takes to please us as a customer. Sometimes it's a fault, though, they tell you that they can do things they actually can't. But typically, the Chinese have a very welcoming approach, very collaborative. And we're, you know, our first preference would be to make things in the United States if everything else was equal. But American companies typically are dominated by large corporations in manufacturing, and they're not very customer focused. So they're very difficult as a small business to do business with. So we found that small business in China or manufacturing in China is much more accessible. That was the best of us.
Can we edit?
But yeah, when you go to, it's fine.
It's all right.
I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
In China specifically, and I think the reason why China's been so successful is it's very easy for a Chinese business person to start a factory. In the United States, it's almost impossible for a small business the capital required, the regulation, and all the paperwork, dealing with transit manufacturing, very difficult. In China, you have a couple machines and you have a room somewhere, you got a manufacturing plant. That makes it very conducive to very rapid, quick, efficient, experimental type manufacturing.
Okay.
So smaller runs, more specialized items. The United States dominates if you're doing large quantity production, automated manufacturing. I still think the United States is the place to go.
Okay. So so I'm guessing that, but among the countries, Russia is one of y'all's biggest buyers of just like your.
Actually, Russia is a good, customer base as well.
But what's some of the and specifically in the European areas, what country like really buys the most?
Russia is probably our #1 market in Europe, but we do well in
France,
Germany, France, United Kingdom, Spain, Portugal, Italy. Since our products are often focused on the shooting hunting market, you probably would want to go to places where hunting and gun ownership is allowed. So Russia, definitely. Poland's got favorable laws. It does depend on the legal environment.
Yeah, I was about to say, because I know the history with Russia and US with the Cold War and stuff, both sides really built very high militaristic power and such. So gun regulation's kind of low on Russia's side, correct?
Well, I would think a lot of the end consumers have military experience. Therefore, when they leave their military, just like when our soldiers leave the military, they know how to shoot guns.
Yeah.
They're looking for the kind of items that we sell, just because that's what they're used to, that's what they're trained to use. So they will seek out that kind of stuff in the open market.
So you would say that most of your customers domestically are gonna be veterans from the military?
I would say some. I mean, a lot of them are hunters that have no military experience, of course. But, yeah, they're used to dealing with these products in the military. They know how to use them. They enjoy using them, so
Yeah.
therefore they go buy them.
I'd say you definitely have a higher percentage of military that engage in hunting than the general population by a large margin.
Because they're just, so used to having just gun experience in general.
That, and then I think that the military draws people that are more outdoor
Enjoy.
hunting
Mhm.
type focused people.
And with with y'all making night vision goggles and mil spec as one of your brand areas, is it the Firefield that's the brand that's military spec, or is that the other one?
Firefield's designed to get new young consumers into the shooting hunting market, so its demographics can be late teen, early 20s.
Okay.
Sightmark focuses on more professional consumer
Sightmark does one.
with accuracy its main purpose. So more advanced technologies, we create products that are of high quality and very differentiated. We do make some products that are like military night vision grade, but that's only available in the United States.
Oh,
So that's not
okay.
available internationally.
Interesting.
Not yet anyway. There's quite a bit of regulations and things on that.
So what state in the United States do you think is the biggest market? Is it like North?
No.
Texas is our biggest.
Texas.
Texas? Oh,
Yeah.
wow, that's surprising.
Texas,
It's hard to go anywhere in Texas without seeing our products in one of the
Really?
retailers.
well, Minnesota, Michigan, where there's a lot of hunting, Virginia.
Mm.
Yep.
So,
We're really strong in the central part of the United States.
yeah.
We're growing in the northeast and west as well, but if you take a line like the Rockies to Appalachia, all the way north and south, we're pretty solid there.
Hmm. Would the west side of the United States or the east side of the United States be the one that's a little bit harder for like to sell? Comparative between the sides.
I would say per capita, California is the biggest challenging market because so many people there don't engage in hunting. It's not a very liberal state in the sense of private ownership and
Yeah.
shooting and hunting. We wish California, I know a lot of Californians would like to have more products and stuff, but it's difficult for them to sometimes buy
Yeah.
and use their products.
Interesting.
Would you agree with that? Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
So domestically, which retailer sells your products and what's the biggest one? Is it, I've heard it's Dick's Sporting Goods, I'm not sure if it's the biggest one.
Dick's isn't the biggest one.
They're the largest chain that we sell to.
Yes.
Well,
They don't
But as
buy
far as
those-
buying our products, no.
Usually we talk about the top like 5 or 10 customers, so Dick's would be in that.
Yeah,
Okay.
Cabela's Bass Pro just came on board and they'll be one of the top 10.
Academy,
Academy, Gander
Okay.
Gander
Mountain.
Mountain.
And then you have emerging online folks like, so specialty stores like Optics Planet and Amazon also do large numbers.
So you said Cabela's finally just like signed on with
Bass
that?
Pro just came on
Bass
recently.
Pro.
Oh, Bass Pro did.
Yep.
Cabela's has been.
For a while.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was about to say, because I know Cabela's, they're all about hunting,
Mhm.
so,
Great customer.
oh, I could understand that.
With gun regulations, how could this affect your company and how would you prepare for it?
Well, actually, the threat of gun regulations has boosted our sales,
Oh.
Really?
probably more so than anything else could have ever. I mean, we don't sell guns, we don't sell rifles, but we sell the products that go on those.
Yeah.
We can't hold stock. We bring in shipments that are pre-sold. This has really probably never happened in this industry before, like to this extent.
So- So it's just something that y'all, that's like completely new, and you're just like, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean,
It's been,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's happened, when you get discussions of federal banning of firearms and limiting people's freedoms to own and shoot and hunt, it always creates kind of like, let's get it now,
Fear
You
that
know,
they can't buy it in the future.
so they wanna get it now.
So they start buying more and more.
But
Makes sense.
I think the thing for us, you know, obviously, I would gladly trade sales for our customers to be able to enjoy
Yeah,
the,
what they
the
do.
pursuits they want to pursue. But, you know, I think for us too, is that there's so many consumers out there that have firearms already that they're gonna enjoy and use in the future, that we're gonna be okay for several years to come, even if there was a ban on new purchases. I obviously hope that doesn't happen, but I think, you know, with what we're trying to do as a company, we're constantly bringing value to the market.
Mhm.
If one area gets regulated and then ends up being artificially to reduce the demand, then as a company, we have to find and seek out other areas to create value for our customers. So I'm gonna be ready for that.
But in the, how would you prepare, just assuming there's regulations already passed in Congress?
Well, we broaden our variety of products. I mean, James has just started a brand called 12 Survivors that is definitely for the camping and outdoor industry, not necessarily hunting. Backpacks,
Knives and tools.
knives and tools.
First aid kits.
First aid kits.
Yeah.
So while the demographics is probably the same, end user buying our other products would be buying these as well. It's to broaden the products that we have on there, so we're not tied into just a few products that if there are government regulations against them, then we're done. Well, we're not done. We're growing other parts of the business.
But I don't see like some of these expansions to other markets as like diversification strategy. What I really see in the marketplace is there's these really interesting pockets of market that hasn't been, you know, I guess approached properly by other competitors. And what we did with like 12 Survivors, Survivor Space really identified cultural trends that have been long going. There's been a lot of interest in, you know, doomsday and all this stuff, and preppers and,
Yeah,
But if-
doomsday preppers, yeah.
but the thing is, it seems to me that everyone's kind of missing the boat on that. So what we did is we said, okay, we know that people are spending more time indoors, they're playing computer games too much, watching too much TV. It's not healthy. So we wanted to create a way that people get them outdoors and outside and make it relevant again. So we took what we learned about
So don't feel bad, you're not the only one.
about tactical products and preferences, and we created that, kind of morphed that into camping outdoor products. And then we said, look, what people have done, so 40,000 years ago, humans were on the brink of extinction, right? There was, I forget the number, 10, 20,000 people in the world, and it could have gone either way. And when you look at what they were facing, how they survived, they came together in groups and worked together, leveraged different skills and different capabilities for their own survival. And so what we're trying to do is come up with a brand that emphasizes those things that really helped us survive. And it wasn't every man for himself, go bury yourself in a cave and let everybody else, you know, fend for themselves. That's not how humans did it. That's not how we need to do it. So we're trying to create a vehicle that's relevant again, that's positive, family friend oriented, that gets people outdoors, and gets them really enjoy nature. Take it a little more seriously too, give them a purpose when they're outdoors, to see what it's like to be off the grid, how to solve problems for yourself, not count on other people or the government or somebody to provide for you. I think that's really something that society needs. So I see this as a really great opportunity. Even if the gun market was gonna grow for the next 100 years, I still think this is something that as a company we need to take advantage of.
So pretty much that y'all want to do that and then hit more cultural niches in general.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get a brand that is powerful and positive, that can make people's lives better, I mean, that's exactly as a company what we want to do. We think that with the hunting and shooting products that we have, that we know that our customers, a lot of them have hard, difficult jobs, and that they have to save their money over many months to be able to buy one of our products. But only for like 1 weekend or 2 out of the year, they get to actually go out and do what they love. So we want to make sure they have the best products possible, and how important that is to allow people to get rewarded for that hard work. And we see our products as kind of fulfilling that, you know, that need, and that what that customer really think drives them.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's very important.
Really get their passion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And without us providing products that are great quality they can afford, they want to be able to spend as much time in the field doing what they love. So.
All right, so one more question and we're done. So, is there anything in your company in any dimension that you wish you could change? Or if there's nothing you wish you could change, something that you think needs to improve?
Well, there's always room for improvement. And while we have the process down, I think really, really well, we're constantly tweaking our processes and how it works for us to build the company that we have. And we've had people come in here before and say, you purposely create your culture. And while we don't purposely create a culture, we enjoy the culture we have created here. We enjoy the people. We are a married couple. Some of our employees have been with us for years. They feel like our children. And they see us as kind of like their mom and dads. We know their problems. We go through their life with them. So I think the process of growing what we have is a challenge. But there's not really anything I'd change. We just want to keep getting better.
You want to keep it. You want to keep the same culture, even if you go, like if you grow in the industry. You don't want to lose that close contact with your
Our employees, yes.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah.
That is.
Wow. Any comments?
Questions for us?
Questions for us?
Well, I hope you guys have a, I hope you do this, it's gonna be a presentation, or you
Yeah.
guys,
Presentation.
so I
What
hope that
classes
goes
is
well.
International marketing.
Yeah, international marketing.
International marketing.
Yeah.
We are both international international, not my students, international business students with Spanish language. It's public relations.
Public
You're all
relations.
seniors graduating this year.
Well, I will say that.
Congratulations.
Yeah, my last comment to you guys is that I think being interested in international business is extremely, actually, it's one of the most interesting things in business. I think it's very rewarding. And I also think with the United States, some of our public policies are really determined to kind of lock stuff down, not embracing this change as much as we could, right? So if you really want to make change and do something great, you might have more opportunities internationally in different markets and stuff, especially as Americans with our skill set and our education and our background. There's so many parts of the market that have never, or parts of the world that haven't really adopted the best business practices yet. You guys have a great opportunity to take what you know and apply it to other markets and help that, whatever you do can lead to some really, I think, very interesting things in business, and I think it'd be very rewarding. So I think, commend you guys' interest in international business.
Thank you.
Oh, well,
So,
I guess that's it. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, thank you so much.
Let me
Thank
turn
you.
off
We
this.
actually have a pair of gifts for y'all.
oh my gosh,